If you had to live in a place where simply stepping outside your home felt like standing at the edge of the world, would you still call it home? Across our planet, there are villages perched precariously on cliffs so high that clouds drift past at eye level. Their pathways are so narrow that one wrong step could cost someone their life. Yet these are places where many people continue to live every single day. So just how terrifying are these places? The first location, a solitary house on a mountain peak. Nature created a jagged mountain summit with three razor-sharp peaks, seemingly as a challenge to humanity. But instead of turning back, people decided to carry timber all the way up and build a house there. Threefingers Lookout is a fire lookout tower in Washington State, USA. It stands precariously atop a rocky mountain at an elevation of approximately 6,900 feet or 2,100 meters. The structure was built in 1933 at a time when there were no helicopters or modern machines to assist with construction. Workers had to carry every wooden beam and tool up the mountain using nothing but their own strength. At that altitude, the clouds lie beneath your feet. The wind can become so powerful that it is difficult to remain standing, while the ground below appears so distant that it is almost impossible to see. If you want to reach the lookout and spend the night there, you must climb steep rock faces, ascend old wooden ladders, and carefully cross slippery slabs of stone that offer no forgiveness if you fall. There are no modern comforts, only an endless sky, absolute silence, and a view so breathtaking that it can make you forget just how terrifyingly high you are. This is not a place for everyone. It is only for those willing to face the raw power of nature without any guarantee of protection. The second location, Wongshin Valley. Human beings seem increasingly determined to conquer the highest and most inaccessible places on Earth, and Wangxian Valley in Hainan Province, China, is one of the clearest examples. This village is situated along a narrow, steep mountain ridge. On one side lies a seemingly bottomless abyss, while on the other rises an enormous vertical cliff. The houses are built in tiers along the mountainside, making the entire village appear as though it is leaning against the cliff for support. Every morning, mist rises from the deep valley and blankets the entire area. It becomes so thick that the village appears to be floating in the sky. This extraordinary sight has amazed people across the internet and earned the destination the nickname, the Village of the Immortals. According to Chinese legend, immortals once chose this remote place high in the mountains as their sanctuary. Waterfalls cascade down the cliffs, while delicate mist drifts around mountain ranges that stretch all the way to the horizon. The result is a landscape that is not only beautiful, but also so mystical that it is almost impossible to describe in words. If you have ever wondered what it feels like to stand above the clouds, you do not need to board an airplane. You only need to visit this place. The next location, the town of Centuripe. If someone told you they had seen a town shaped like a human figure with both arms stretched wide, would you believe them? As unbelievable as it may sound, this is exactly what can be seen in Centuripe, a town in Sicily, Italy. When viewed from high above with a drone, the entire town resembles a person standing with both arms extended. Centuripe sits on a mountain ridge more than 730 meters, or approximately 2,400 feet above sea level. Its roads and buildings spread across the landscape in this remarkable human-like shape. What makes the town even more fascinating is the mystery surrounding its design. Is this shape merely an extraordinary coincidence, or was it carefully planned centuries ago? Centuripe has a long history dating back to the pre-Christian era and was once an important city of the Roman Empire. From ground level, however, visitors see only ordinary houses and streets. But when viewed from above, the town's unusual shape becomes remarkably clear, as if someone had drawn it according to a giant master plan. As a result, Centuripe has become a famous destination for travelers who are passionate about discovering unique places around the world. Centuripe proves that sometimes you have to look down from the sky to discover the beauty hidden on the ground. The fourth location, the City of Gold above the clouds. At an elevation of 5,100 meters, or approximately 16,700 feet above sea level, higher than the cruising altitude of some aircraft, more than 50,000 people live every day in Rinconada, high in the Peruvian Andes. At this altitude, the air is so thin that climbing just a few stairs can leave you gasping for breath. Temperatures rarely rise above 3 degrees Celsius or 37 degrees Fahrenheit, and not even a single tree can survive there. There is no airport and no railway, only winding dirt roads so treacherous that even experienced mountain climbers would find them intimidating. Yet no one wants to give up, because beneath this land that nearly touches the sky lie enormous deposits of gold. Everyone comes here with the same dream: to find gold, escape this unforgiving place, and build a better life. So even though La Rinconada is the highest city in the world, it remains filled with people who cannot bring themselves to leave, because their hopes are still buried deep beneath the ground. The fifth location, the Hanging Houses of Cuenca. Building a house on the edge of a cliff is already difficult to imagine, but the medieval residents of Cuenca, in Spain's Castilla-La Mancha region, went even further by constructing houses that extend beyond the edge of a drop more than 100 meters, or 330 feet deep. These architectural wonders make almost everyone who sees them for the first time ask the same question: how have they not collapsed? The foundations of the houses rest on nearly vertical cliffs above the Huecar River, while their wooden and stone structures reach outward over the vast open space below. Their beautiful balconies and elegant windows make the houses appear wonderfully romantic. But the moment you step outside and look down into the abyss, your legs may immediately begin to tremble. After hundreds of years of storms, erosion, and the relentless passage of time, these houses are still standing, as if they were challenging nature itself. If you need proof that human determination can overcome what seems impossible, the Hanging Houses of Cuenca are among the clearest examples in the world. The sixth location, ancient temples on Mount Hua. There is a mountain in China famous not simply for its height, but for the heart-pounding experience awaiting everyone who sets foot upon it. That mountain is Mount Hua, also known as Huashan, one of China's 5 great sacred mountains. Its highest peak rises more than 2,000 meters, or 6,560 feet, above sea level. However, what astonishes visitors even more than the mountain's height is the sight of ancient temples, shrines, and small pavilions clinging to its vertical cliffs. These structures were built during the Tang and Ming dynasties, when workers had to transport every stone and tool up the mountain using only their own physical strength. There was no modern machinery, only unwavering faith and an unbreakable determination to succeed. Some of these structures took decades to complete because merely transporting the building materials was an extraordinarily dangerous and exhausting challenge. For hundreds of years, this mountain has stood as a testament to the power of faith. Today, visitors who wish to experience the mountain for themselves must fasten safety harnesses and climb along ancient pathways that cling tightly to the cliffs. Despite their exhaustion and fear, and although they can barely bring themselves to look down, they continue moving forward. The reward waiting at the end of the journey is a breathtaking view. Nearly everyone who reaches the summit shares the same feeling. The journey was absolutely worth it. The next location, Margarita Hut. If you stood here and looked down, you would not see the ground. Instead, you would see clouds drifting slowly beneath your feet. Margarita Hut, located on the summit of Signal Cup in Italy, is the highest building in Europe, standing nearly 4,600 meters, or approximately 15,000 feet, above sea level. At this altitude, the air becomes extremely thin. Even breathing can be difficult, and every step requires far more energy than usual. To reach the hut, climbers must overcome dangerous mountain trails, cross glaciers, and endure bitterly cold conditions. But once you arrive at the summit, you are rewarded with a spectacular 360-degree panoramic view of the majestic Alps, where nearly everything appears to lie below eye level. Margarita Hut is not only a famous tourist destination, but also an important scientific research center. Scientists conduct studies there on the human body, the atmosphere, and geology. If you want to experience spending a night at the highest mountain hut in Europe, you can certainly try, but prepare yourself. The extremely low oxygen levels may make your dreams far stranger and more vivid than usual. The eighth location, the town on a cliff. There is a village perched on a cliff approximately 50 meters or 164 feet high and less than 50 meters wide. Despite its extraordinary location, people have lived there peacefully for hundreds of years. This is Castellfollit de la Roca, a village in the Catalonia region of Spain. The village stands on a massive basalt cliff formed by volcanic lava hundreds of thousands of years ago. As the lava cooled, it created towering stone columns stacked together like countless giant pencils. People looked up at this remarkable formation, decided to build homes upon it, and transformed it into a permanent settlement. The village stretches for nearly 1 kilometer along the cliff's edge. From a distance, it resembles a living fortress rising above the surrounding green forest. Every house is constructed from local stone and topped with earth-toned roof tiles that blend perfectly with the rock beneath them. This makes the buildings appear as though they emerged directly from the cliff itself. Unable to expand to the left or right, the village could only grow lengthwise along the ridge, while an enormous drop lies directly below. This extraordinary setting gives Castellfollit de la Roca its unique appeal, attracting visitors from around the world who want to witness the remarkable sight with their own eyes. The ninth location, Atule'er village. Can you imagine a village with no roads and no cars, where the only way in or out is by climbing a cliff that rises as high as 1,600 meters, or more than 5,200 feet? This is Atule'er, a village inhabited by members of the Yi ethnic group on a treacherous mountainside in Sichuan province, China. For hundreds of years, the only route into the village consisted of bamboo ladders and rattan vines attached to a nearly vertical cliff. This was not an extreme tourist attraction. It was the path villagers used in their everyday lives. When images of residents climbing the precarious rattan and bamboo ladders spread across social media, people around the world were stunned by the harsh living conditions they endured. In 2020, the local government constructed sturdy steel ladders, reducing the journey to less than an hour and making it much safer. Making the journey considerably safer. However, even though life has become more convenient, the villagers still maintain their peaceful and simple way of life, remaining deeply connected to the surrounding natural world. All around them is the sound of wind sweeping across the cliffs, while the sky seems closer than the ground below. The 10th location, Yanjin City. Imagine two enormous mountains pressing so closely together that almost no open space remains. And then imagine people deciding to build an entire city inside that narrow gap. This is Yanjin, a city in China's Yunnan province. Towering mountain ranges surround the city on both sides, leaving very little flat land available for construction. As a result, the entire city stretches along the Yangtze River, creating such a long and narrow shape that many people call it the narrowest city in the world. With no room to expand horizontally, apartment buildings and residential areas have been forced to grow vertically. There are steep cliffs behind the buildings and a river directly in front of them, leaving only one possible direction for further development: upward. Viewed from above, Yanjin resembles an enormous crack running through the mountains, one that humanity has miraculously transformed into a thriving place to live. What is even more remarkable is that, despite its extremely limited space, the city still has everything its residents need, including stores, schools, markets, and roads wide enough for vehicles to travel through, even though many of them are narrower than ordinary alleys. Nature restricted the amount of land available, but people chose to adapt by building higher. These are the extraordinary villages and cities perched precariously on towering cliffs, places that are both magnificent and terrifying. They show us that everyone has a different understanding of what it means to feel safe. For many of the people living in these communities, everyday life is inseparable from extreme heights and the constant presence of danger. Yet they remain strong and resilient, continuing to embrace and enjoy their lives. Before we end today's journey, if you enjoyed this kind of content, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. We'll see you again in our next video. Goodbye.